I think finally we can put to rest the fallacy out there that you don't like Superman, because you did right by the Man of Steel in DK3, and especially if you've been following along, you've seen all different types of characteristics of him that have really come out strong here. His loyalty to his friend Batman, even though Batman kicked the crap out of him in Dark Knight Returns.
Sure did.
But he's loyal to his friend. He took the extraordinary step of dropping him into the Lazarus pit to revive him. But you also saw him in this great moment where he surprises Batman. It's really hard to surprise Batman. I love that scene. I'd love to hear how you and Brian put that scene together in the last that sequence in the last issue where Batman is like caught off guard and says, "Wow, he's been holding back."
Oh yeah, the whole idea is that in the first two Dark Knights, I did what I always wanted to do with Batman and Superman. I always wanted Batman to beat the crap out of Superman, and he did. Then he did it again, and finally in the third one, Batman does come to realize that Superman has been a real gentleman about the whole thing all this time, because he sees Superman lose his temper, and he sees the attempts could be world-shattering.
The world needs a Batman is another line in this series, and it's kind of amazing that it comes from Superman. Because all this time, you would think that people needed a gentle god, a Superman, to kind of guide over them. Why does the world need a Batman and not necessarily a Superman? Why is that important to this story?
Well, the only way you'd think the world wouldn't need a Batman in this context, or whatever forces represent the Batman in the real world, is if you thought the world was a perfect place. You thought the world was just a gentle, happy place where everything was well ordered, and there wasn't much danger around, and there wasn't corruption. Batman's a kind of a rather rough and tumble force for justice, but he is necessary in any fiction that's supposed to relate in any way to the real world.
There aren't as many guest stars in this series as there were in The Dark Knight Strikes Again, but there's a good bunch, and they all have very important roles here. Flash, the Atom, and then Green Lantern. Talk about how you and Brian brought those characters into this series and what their roles were as almost a de facto unofficial Justice League.
Right. They make their way in, no matter what you intend at the beginning. When I first put together The Dark Knight Returns, my initial version of it didn't even have Superman in it. My initial proposal, it was just Batman, up against criminals and cops, and then I realized inevitably it was heading toward a conflict with Superman. Once I did that, all the other characters started climbing in, and I was able to drag Green Arrow, the one-armed Green Arrow, in, and then by the time I got to Dark Knight 2, the lid had come off, and it was time to bring in Green Lantern, which was essentially bringing in God, and why not just bring them all in? At that point, it became spandex fever. With the third one, it was just a matter of continuing that.
But the roles that each one played, Flash, and then Green Lantern, who's shows up early and then pops up at the end in a pivotal role. When you and Brian, I'm assuming there was some sort of spitballing element. Hey, who would be good to bring in here? Any names didn't make the cut? Were there any other heroes that you kind of thought about bringing in?
Well, yeah, but there were some, but it would be like, oh no, you killed him in the last one, and that sort of thing. And it's the people who belonged in it got in it. There are so many characters that you could always drag more in, but there wasn't exactly room for the Blackhawks in Dark Knight.